Let's Talk with Crystal K. And today I have two of my ladies with me. Got Miss Kiera and Miss Carissa. And today we're going to be talking about something that I've been hearing about a lot. I've been seeing on my timeline on Instagram and Facebook a lot. Just across the board, being intentional, especially when you're dating. So that is something that I really want to talk about with you ladies. But before we even jump into what intentional dating is, I just want to talk about what dating is, period. And then we'll go into what intentional dating is. So, I do have multiple definitions of dating myself, but what do you ladies think dating is? Rissa, you want to start? Rissa,
I'll let you start.
Okay. Me?
Okay. I'll start. I'll go ahead and start. So dating for me is when you're in a relationship with someone and you're exclusive. You finish with the talking phase. You know that you want to be together. You go out on dates. There's no secrets. And if you were talking to other people previously, then those connections have been kind of canceled out, and you're exclusive.
To me, dating can mean two different things. Dating can mean, like you were saying, being exclusive with someone. You guys have a title. It's established that it's just, the two of you exclusively dating, versus the other definition of dating can mean you're getting to know someone, you're spending time with them, but you could also be spending time with other people too and getting to know them as well.
Right. So I agree with that because that's exactly what my two definitions are. There's one that's exclusive, we're in a relationship, we have a title, we're dating. And then there's the other one where we're not so exclusive, we're just kind of exploring the possibilities and getting to know each other. So that's my two definitions. So now that we know now that we know what dating is, why do you guys think that we date? What's the purpose of dating? Or when you guys are dating, what are you dating for?
I feel like there were only a couple of times in my life where I wasn't dating married, but that's basically my reasoning for dating is to start a lifelong partnership with someone, start a thing, and just kind of grow together.
I second that too. I think right now, in the short term, my dating purpose, or whatever you want to call it, would be to kind of establish someone that I can see, myself having that partnership with, but also someone who is going to push me and I push them as well to, excel at our goals and all that sort of thing. So long term, I agree with you for sure. Short term, I'm dating to find someone who I'm compatible with and, we align on the same goals.
So when people say, do y'all date? And then people will be like, nah, we just talk. What does that mean?
See, that's where this is why I feel like this generation's dating is not for me. I think that...
What is this generation's dating? What is it?
That's what I was saying. Like, Kara was just saying that to her, dating is when you're exclusive with one person, where I feel like nowadays people have totally misconstrued the word dating. So it could mean, multitude of things. Now there's something called like a situationship.
Yeah.
Where, Crystal, what you were just saying, where you're talking to someone and you're doing exclusive and intimate things with that person, but there's no establishment that, okay, we're just seeing each other. So I personally don't care for that, because I think the lines are too blurred and people's feelings can get hurt. It's just not, the communication and boundaries are not there. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that answered your question, but that's just my thoughts.
Kiara, when you hear that, what do you think?
Talking?
Yeah. No, we don't date. We just talk.
I would say that it depends on the people. With talking, it's really close to a situationship where the lines are kind of blurred, because you can be talking to one person or you can be talking to several people. You can, have a whole roster of people just start dating, get in a relationship with, and the longer you talk, more people will start to fall off. It's like, okay, well, I don't like that he does that. I don't like that he does that. So the talking phase to me is just getting to know a person, but again, that honesty to be at the top of everything, to let that person know, hey, I'm talking to you, but I'm also talking to, X amount of other people, just trying to get to know all of you.
Okay, so
And then that way that person can take it or leave it.
Right. So it sounds like we pretty much kind of all have like a general meaning, the same general meaning of what dating is. Do you guys think people in our generation, Riss, you alluded to it, do we still date? Using the definition of being exclusive.
I think so. I think there are people our age who do believe in the traditional sense of like dating, just that one-on-one relationship. I do feel like, I don't know how to explain it. I do feel like just because of the cultural and like societal type influences that more people are trying to like date in the sense that they're trying to get to know multiple people as like a defense mechanism. So if you continue to put yourself out there thinking that, oh, I'm talking or dating this person in this one-on-one, and you keep getting burned because their version of dating is talking to multiple people, then I think that just like continues the cycle of like, okay, like I'm gonna date, but I'm not gonna be exclusive with anyone.
So how?
But there are people out there who do date like exclusively in the traditional sense.
So how soon are we having that conversation with that other person about what dating is for us, to make sure we're on the same page? Is that something we have off the bat? Is it something that you just kind of fall into and then you ask them, or how soon are you guys having that conversation?
I mean, I feel like anywhere from immediately to within the first month. It also depends on the environment you met in, because I feel like if it's an online dating app, then I'm probably in your bio, like, serious inquiries only. Or like, I feel like it's easier for me if it's like immediate, but I know some people need time to see if it's going to be a friendship or a situationship or a relationship, but I feel like for the most part, like, you know what you're looking for when you start talking to someone.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the physical attraction also. If you see someone and you're like, I could see myself being with this person for a while, or I'm just trying to be with them for a little bit, like,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we all know it's just about how honest we really want to be with ourselves. How soon are you having that conversation?
My generation has a lot of anxiety. Like, it's hard for us to have those conversations because we are taught that we can have whatever we want, do whatever we want, reach for the stars, but then, like, you've been rejected before. I don't think there's anyone, over the age of 21 who's not experienced this sort of rejection, or definitely 25, and absolutely not. I've been cheated on before, so it's just like you have all these scars, but also all this anxiety, and it's like, I want what I want, but I want to please this person too, so that they don't screw me over. So like, you keep a lot of stuff inside that you really should just be honest about.
You really, it's all about communication.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think for me personally, that conversation is had pretty quickly. I don't like the lack of communication on where I stand with someone, and that's just like me as a my personality. I'm just like, okay, this is where we stand. Like, I'm pretty much an all or nothing type person. But there are people who date casually and they don't want anything exclusive, and they like seeing multiple people. They don't want to settle down. So that's why I think that the dating part initially, or the talking stage, is really important. That's why I keep saying compatibility. So do we have the same goals and definition key attributes and things we're looking for in that other person we're talking to.
So kind of shifting a little bit, but still kind of on the same track because it kind of talks about how we go about dating and knowing what we want and what type of dating we're going to do. So if somebody slides in your DMs, are you responding to it?
Oh, yeah.
Yes?
I mean, I'm going to check out the profile first.
Okay.
And, just see what they have to say. But if I'm in a relationship, then of course not. Like now, of course not.
Right.
But, years ago, I literally had someone inbox me. We set up a date. We go see the movie, and after that, we never talked to them.
And this was a person that you didn't know this person at all, right?
I did know them.
Okay.
But we didn't really we were just kind of social media friends. But yeah, it's worth a shot,
Okay.
I feel like people that don't respond to DMs are just it's either what the message said, or they're just really rude people in general. Because it's what is it that you don't want to respond to? Unless the person's if you're just completely not interested, then okay. But
so it's funny, I'm laughing because it depends on when I pick and choose to respond. Like if I'm approached in a nice way and it doesn't come across as being overly
Creepy, aggressive.
Yeah. Then
but if they just say hi.
I ain't responding to no hi.
How are you? Or
how are you? I'll look and I'll engage at first, but if I see the conversation is going nowhere fast, then that comes across so mean. But that's real though. If it's not a good conversation, if they don't know how to carry a conversation, then that's just something that's just not gonna work. But right.
It's when you talk about DMs, what is the perfect thing for a guy to say?
Look, I feel like it's like a lose, in my opinion, it's a lose-lose. So I'm that person, Kiera, that you're talking about that's not responding to a DM. Especially if it's hey, sexy, hey, this. I'm not responding to that.
Just say, hi, how are you?
I'm probably still not going to respond. You would have to say something else. So in my mind, a DM is like a hookup. In my mind. That's how I view it. Because that's just how I view it. That's been my experience. I'm not hooking up with people. I'm just saying. That seems like the intent whenever somebody does inbox me.
So the guy that you were friends with on social media that wanted to get to know you, how else would he do that?
See, that's what I'm saying. It's like a lose-lose. You would really have to say something that doesn't make me think you're super creepy or this is just you know what I mean? You really would have to let me know that you're trying to get to know me. Because on social media, all you can do is just see me. So it's purely physical, which that's initial attraction anyway. So that's what I'm saying. I just feel like it's a lose-lose because if he does want to get to know me and I don't know him, say he doesn't live in the same city as me. He could be perfectly normal, be fine, but I just don't know. He would have to say something to make me be okay, let's give it a shot, So I just feel like it's a lose-lose for the guy.
I think it's about context too.
Uh-huh.
So if I post a selfie and I get a DM from you immediately after, and it says hey, sexy or something like that, that's gonna make me on guard. Okay, you only wrote me because of what you saw. Versus, if I post I'm into working out, so if I post my workout, I've had genuine DMs about what do you suggest for this and that, then by all means, I respond.
Yes.
And, I'm cordial, but I think context plays a big role into it too.
That's what I'm trying to say. I couldn't articulate that, but that's what I was trying to say.
I get what you mean, though.
So with that being said, like I feel like it's also about your intent. So I just kind of want us to transition into what you guys think intentional dating is and what it looks like.
Yeah. No, I mean, definitely like have a plan when you step to someone. Like we've been talking about the guys jumping begins, but also vice versa. Like when you go up to a guy and you tell them, hey, like you're attractive, you seem like a nice guy, I like the way you carry yourself, like can we get to know each other? And then, go from there. If they're single and they're interested also, then just say, hey, like I'm looking to find someone I can be in a relationship with. Like I'm to the point in life where I don't want to just date casually or talk to someone or be in a situationship. And then go from there. But definitely make sure you're on the same page and try and keep a flow.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you don't vibe with someone, I feel like you'll see that right off. But you can't be a lazy dater. You can't always assume the other person's gonna make plans. You shouldn't be the only person making all the plans, but like you should have a nice flow. Give it schedule. Make sure you know their schedule, they know your schedule. When you have like mutual free time, make sure you do something in that free time to get to know the person better.
Mm-hmm.
You agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with that. I guess in my mind, I'm thinking of the word intent. So to me, intent is like purposeful,
right,
and like aligned with like what you want to achieve. So to me, intentional dating would mean like, okay, I don't want to say you have a checklist because I feel like you don't want to be too constrained because you're not going to meet the perfect person. But you do, I think you should have like principles and to accomplish. So adding another person into your life who's on the same page with you is just a benefit.
Mm-hmm.
So just to me, intentional dating in short would just be dating with the purpose of finding someone who is on the same page with you.
So what does intentional dating look like when you guys are dating? What are these conversations like? What are we talking about? What does it look like?
The conversations we're having with the other people or
Yes.
with ourselves?
No, well, both. Well, I want to hear the other people first. Like, what are we talking about? Because in my mind, intentional dating is very purposeful. You know exactly what you want. You have a goal in mind. There's a reason that you're dating, whether it's marriage or I don't know what the other reasons would be, but in my mind, it would be marriage. So now I'm looking at building like a life with you. So I want to make sure that you and I are on the same page. So I'm going to be asking you stuff like, what's your credit score? Like, when you're mad, how do you react to this? How do you feel about children?
You said you're going to ask what their credit score is?
Heck yeah, we're about to be joint. Like, yeah. I need to know, like, we can't be making decisions if you have bad credit. I need to know, like, what kind of spending habits do you have? Are you a saver? Are you like, you know what I mean? Like, stuff like that is what intentional dating looks like to me. Because if this is somebody who we're about to join our lives together and we're going to align together, I feel like we need to mesh, and I feel like I need to know exactly what I'm getting into because I'm intentional about it. So I just feel like the conversations are a little bit more intense.
For all of those questions and answers, maybe not the first date.
No, not the first date.
But I feel like there's definitely a timeline for those. So, at first, of course, the whole like what do you do for fun, like how do you relax, how do you like your religion, spirituality. Just kind of baseline questions at first, but then I honestly feel like by month 3, then you should definitely know like where they are financially, what they want financially, what type of house they want in the future, and how many kids they want, and whether they want to get married or not. But yeah, I mean, I feel like those questions within the first 3 months should know all. That way you don't have so much time invested to where you can't really pull out, but it's not so soon to where the other person kind of runs away.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like
But I feel like instead of asking those questions, I would offer that.
Right, yeah, for sure. And I agree with you guys, like, on the questions, establishing, like, you know, where that person is in life compared to where you are in life. I guess when you initially asked that question, I was thinking more, like, you know, what type of goals do you have, short term, long term, you know, do you plan on living in this city,
Right.
you know, for a while, that sort of thing. I guess, like, you know, what makes you angry, like, that type of stuff, like, what are your pet peeves, like, what are your love languages type thing. So that to me would be establishing, like, that compatibility, like I keep saying, and then from there you can go into, like, the, you know, all the questions you guys were asking.
I feel like when you're just like casually dating, I feel like it is exactly what it is. It's very casual. It's very leisure. You're just kind of taking your time with the process, just seeing what comes of it. But I guess there is an end goal, but it's not like blaring. And I just feel like when it's intentional, it's like it's a little bit more intense. I don't want to say it's a faster process, but you weed out all the other stuff. You know what I mean? Is what I think.
There's a time where like talking or casual dating can turn into like I like this person so much. Like now I want to pursue something more, and that's just a simple hey, like where do you see this going? Because I feel like I'm getting more invested into this than I previously thought. Like do you see a future with me? And then you can go from there. I feel like a lot of people in this generation is just kind of like casually dating until they're with someone who they really start vibing with, and then it turns into intentional dating.
Gotcha.
Right. Which is confusing to me sometimes because to me intention is like you should be intentional with your time. So why are you,
Yes.
you know, like I said, there are groups of people who they enjoy casually dating. But to me, time is precious. Time is something that you can't get back. So I'm not going to waste my time hanging out with someone and investing my time into this person and I don't see it going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm dating someone, you know.
I agree. So I was looking at this blog site, right? And I just typed in intentional dating, and it had 10 rules for dating with intention, right? I'm not going to read all 10, but I'm going to read you guys a few, and y'all just tell me, like, if y'all agree, just give me feedback on it. So the first one is set your high standards and never compromise on them. The second one...
Yeah,
It depends?
I really agree with that one. I don't agree with never compromise because as an adult in general, you have to compromise. Life is about compromising.
Okay.
That doesn't mean settling. It doesn't mean like throwing out your standard, throwing them out the window. But I feel like compromise is like a healthy thing to do.
Gotcha. You want to add anything, or you want me to keep going, Riz?
No, I agree with what she said. Yeah.
Okay. So the next one is don't impress, express. So basically what we've been talking about, you know how like Corey says, I've been stealing his little phrase ever since he said it. Like sending your representative when you meet somebody, not being who you are. So it's saying don't do that, but express how you really feel when you're dating with intention. Like you've been saying, communicate. So.
Yep, I agree with that.
All right. So it says confidence comes from knowing what you have to offer and knowing what you want. So basically, like, just being confident and, like, knowing who you are and being, like, don't waver on it.
Yeah,
Lisa?
that's like what I was saying with rejection. Like, if you get rejected, like, okay, they're lost, keep moving.
So this next one, I actually had to read, like, the feedback that they had on it. So it says your courtship is effortless. So it says that many of us buy into the notion of the struggle. We feel like if it's not a struggle, then it must not be worth it. But what they're saying is with the right person, your connection will be effortless. What do you guys think?
Because you're gonna have struggles, but I don't feel like you should have those struggles up front. Definitely not.
Do you feel like you have to struggle for it to be worth it?
No, I feel like people feel like any argument, disagreement, or fight is a struggle, and it's not. Like if someone's out here cheating on you, like that's a struggle. You should just let go. But you know, if you have arguments over things, just be an adult and talk it out.
Yeah, I agree with that too. But I mean, I guess my initial thought was, you know, you've dated this person, you've gotten to know this person, and now you're exclusive. You should, at a certain level, you should know what that person, like the package that comes with them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a matter of like, okay, are we on the same wavelength? So when we do come to hurdles, we're gonna, you know, cross them together, or is it gonna be like a clash every time on how we approach things? So to me, if you're the right person, you should be able to communicate in a healthy way to where, you know, it's like you were saying, it's not a struggle. Like an argument doesn't have to be a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
It just means you need to communicate.
Right. Okay, so it says there's no rush. Enjoy the process.
I agree with that.
Yes and no on that too. I did date a guy one time who said that he wouldn't even consider marriage unless he was dating someone for 5 years. And I'm trying to like get more information on that. Like, what if you felt it sooner than 5 years? And he was basically just like, no, like 5 years, at least 5 years. And I'm like, nah. That's just stupid. Like, if you feel that connection with someone, if you know that's where it's going, like, why wait for that 5 years?
Right. What is 5
Because
years?
it's almost like you're allowing that timeline for something to make you change your mind. So I don't know. I don't really agree with like a certain timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the important thing is being present with that person in the moment. Like if you try to, you know, set timelines and check boxes and stuff like that, I feel like that's where unset expectations come across.
What do you mean?
So,
Elaborate a little bit more.
So, okay, like let's say you and the guy you were talking to, like marriage hadn't ever come up, and you guys started dating, and you are, you know, three and a half years in, you're like starting to get a little resentful because you know he hasn't proposed, he hasn't mentioned marriage, and that sort of thing. That's where I feel like you kind of just have to, like the article said, like don't rush it. I mean, obviously communicate how you feel because it's not good to have like pent up resentment, but it's just important to communicate. But also, like I said, I don't believe in, you know, timelines like you were saying, or trying to check a box every year. Like if you're with the right person, things should just flow.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that it's going to be easy, but you do have to communicate. But at the same time, just be present with your partner.
I got you.
And that took me a long time to learn. That is just, you know, that wasn't something that I was doing, you know. But that's one of the biggest lessons I think I've taken away.
Yeah. Well, I want to piggyback off of what you said about like if we've been together for 3 years and marriage never comes up. With me being intentional, exactly. If I'm intentionally dating, you better know that I want to get married. And if we're not talking about it, I'm gonna be like,
yeah, you should definitely establish. I want to get married,
right?
For sure. Like I'm not saying that you shouldn't.
No. I just wanted to throw that in there. I know exactly what you mean, but I just wanted to throw that in there, just talking about intentional dating. But I hear you. I feel you. Be present.
Oh yes. Yep. Yep. Yeah. So you know, but vocalize that. You know, like I said, probably some of the arguments that come across or you come across in relationships are expectations that were never vocalized.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I expected you to do this. I thought you were going to do this, but that's why going back to the word intentional, set a purpose, you know, for what you want to do and communicate that to your partner.
Don't expect things. Don't expect them to just know things.
Communication.
Yes. Yep. They don't.
They don't.
Oh my
I'm gonna
goodness.
leave that at that.
All right, so the next one says there is no such thing as rejection. It just wasn't the right fit for you. Kiera, you already talked about that. You don't want to be with me, that's your loss.
Yeah, and I mean, that's not to put him down either, or whoever it may be. Like, they feel like they deserve better, and you're like, okay, cool. Well, maybe I deserve better too. There's just so many dodge bullets that I've had, and so I can't complain. There's not a single, with where I am in my life right now, and with what I have, there's not a single no that I've gotten that I lose sleep over.
Listen, no's teach you so much in life. No's can be so good for you.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not in that moment, but when you look back on it, that no saved you.
Yep.
I agree with that. Yep. I agree with everything you said.
So the last one is follow the attraction that challenges you to grow. You guys need me to elaborate, or y'all understand what it's saying?
Can you repeat it? I didn't hear.
Follow the attraction that challenges you to grow.
I agree with that as long as it's healthy growth. I feel like growth and change are too commonly misused. So growing into a better person, into a better environment, all of saying, okay, you need to work out so that you can have a big butt, flat stomach, and you need to get your hair like this so you look better for this situation. Like, whatever, that's changing you.
That's not good.
But I feel like people sometimes use grow and change too loosely and interchangeably. But yeah, if you're gonna help me, learn, like with my fiance, he's learned so much more about politics. I thought I was doing enough just by being registered to vote and getting out to vote, but like actually studying candidates was not something that I was doing. So he's definitely helped me to grow in that aspect, and then also learning more about like home ownership and stuff. But with like my weight loss journey and stuff, he's been there, and I have to tell him something. You have to push me, and he'll be like, okay. But he doesn't go so far as the fact where it's like, you said you gained some weight. Like, what are you gonna do about that? It's just like kind of deliverance also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Like, I believe in a partner, that establishes like healthy change. Well, you said challenge you?
Yes.
Is that what you said, Crystal?
Yes, but that's along the lines, yeah.
What did you say?
Yeah. Challenge.
Yeah. So I believe in that. I think it also goes back to the standards thing in the first line you said. Yeah, you shouldn't be so confined to what you want in a person when it comes to like, oh, this person, like the person I date has to be like over 6 foot. Like, it's just little things like that I feel like hold people into a certain pool of like dating. Mm-hmm. Like, how do you know? Like, I know me personally, my dating preferences have changed over the years, based on what my goals are. Like in college, you couldn't tell me that I would be dating people who didn't play a sport, because I played sports my whole life, and that was something that was really important to me at the time. But now I'm challenging myself and stepping out of well, I guess you could say evolving. My tastes are evolving, but yeah, I definitely think you should evaluate your standards and make sure that they are purposeful and positive and healthy for you. It shouldn't be all physical or all superficial things.
So talking about using stuff interchangeably, like growth and change, you hear people talk about their standards versus their preferences, and some people will put a preference as a standard, but
I feel like we should even add a third one into that.
What's that? Wait, say it again.
Fetishizing.
Ooh, okay.
So there's preference, there's standard, and then there's fetishizing. So if you have a preference for someone for what you're going to get out of it. I feel like that's kind of fetishizing. Like if you only got over 6 foot because you want tall children.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah.
You know, or you like how y'all look side by side in pictures, or you know, I just feel like that's kind of fetishizing, like light skin versus dark skin versus dating outside your race. Like that's something that I've really come to see with everything that's going on now with some of our allies and how they talk about Black people, and it's just like it's kind of weird that you're not really listing any actual values. It's all just like physical, or you know. It's just weird to me, but also with preference versus standards, make sure you're not putting others down.
Right.
So to say, hey, I want someone with a 750 credit score, all of you 300 credit score, you know, y'all failed in life, y'all just need to, like, no. I want someone who's going to match me or either be better than me so I can get up to that level also, period. There shouldn't be any more said to that. Like, no period is a full sentence. So it's like when you get so far into justifying why you want what you want, you might actually be hurting yourself also. Or you might realize that you have another issue that you might need to work on.
Yeah, I feel like to me it's very simple. A standard is something that you're not willing to compromise on.
Nope, it's not gonna change.
Like that's like a hard pass. If the like, let's say you are Christian, and a standard for you is whoever you're dating has to be Christian. Like that's like a hard fact. Like can't be any other way. Preference is I prefer my partner to be Christian, but I'm open to exploring, you know, what they believe. So, Crystal, what you were saying, like yes, I do feel like people think they have preferences when in reality it's a standard. And that's why I said I feel like, especially the older you get, you should definitely evaluate what your standards versus your preferences are, because you could be holding yourself back. Like I was saying with like, oh, you have to date someone who's 6 foot. Like, why do you feel that way? What in your mind makes you feel that, you know, that is the ultimate, you know, qualification for a partner for you? And you'll learn, or what I learned is, you know, you really start to self-evaluate. So like you were saying here, like maybe it's something that you need to address in yourself, because you're projecting like, oh, well, I'm insecure about my height, so I like to have a tall partner because my kids are going to be tall and they can play sports. Like it's really weird, like how things manifest in your life and you don't even know it based on like just unchecked like subconscious thoughts that you have.
Yeah. But I feel like the older you get, your standards, I'm not gonna say your standards go up, but your standards stay here. And I would think if you're, like you said, if you're evolving, I would think your preferences go down. Because you may think that it's important, but really, like at the end of the day, is like the physical, like that important, or is it more important about how you feel when you're with that person and how they treat you and the long-term stuff? Because you know the physical can change like that. So.
And you start to learn different, like the value of certain things too. Like, do you want someone who's gonna flash a watch and shoes, or do you want someone who's gonna, you know, put that in a 401k in a house?
Right.
I feel like childish things are just childish things, but there are a lot of people that are getting up there that are still seeing the value in some of those things that are just not valuable.
Right, and that helping you grow as a person to me. Like the article was saying, you should definitely find someone who challenges you, you know, in a healthy way. Like, for example, if you like to shop and your partner is frugal and they don't shop and they're teaching you finances, that's a great thing. But you could be holding yourself back because, oh, well, he's not 6 foot, but he could be like the most perfect person in the world for you. Like, just compliment you every day, but because you're set on a certain standard, you know, you just, you know, hold yourself back. It's really interesting to So
Right.
I think it's definitely something that, you should look into the older you get. Like, I keep having the same issues with different people. What is that?
Right.
Yeah.
So,
All right, so we're gonna wrap up there. Do you guys have any final thoughts about intentional dating? Y'all dropped a lot of dimes and jewels and just all over the place.
Yeah, no, it's just the one law. Just treat people how you want to be treated. Stay honest.
yeah.
Communicate.
You know.
Gotcha. Well, thank you, ladies, so much for talking with me about intentional dating. I appreciate it. And I am Crystal K, and this is Let's Talk.